It's too smart to talk to regular people. Boom! Powerful big wave surfer. How are you, buddy?
I'm great.
We just got back from playing a little techno hunt.
We did, man.
Greatest thing of all time, right?
I was just saying, I don't care what the price is. It's worth it. It's a bargain at twice the price or whatever it is.
Yeah, for people who don't know what it is, it's this game that it simulates bow hunting. So what it is a giant screen that's made out of Kevlar, and then it's got like a projector, projects HD images of elk and deer. You could set it up for a bunch of different animals, but elk and deer walk across the screen, and you shoot at them, and it's like the perfect. We showed a little video of Shane doing it earlier.
It's really cool, man.
It's a perfect practice for bow hunting, because one of the things about bow hunting is you get nervous, and the more you could do something like this where you just shot a perfect shot, the more you could do that over and over and over again, the more it becomes ingrained in your nervous system, ingrained in your muscles, ingrained in your memory, and then it becomes natural.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty dope.
We're going to make this podcast about 15 minutes long and go back and shoot some more.
Yeah, that's what we're actually talking about, cutting off the podcast short just for that. So tell me about this movie, man.
Yeah, so I'm in LA for the HBO premiere of the Momentum Generation. It's a sports documentary that HBO and Robert Redford did. So it's cool, man. It's really cool. It's a story about my friends and I. We all grew up competitive surfers, and in high school we all sort of met each other through competitions, competing. So this tells the story of how we met, how we grew up, and how we became friends and family, basically like traveling around the world, together as basically like little kids with no chaperones on tour around the world. So It's fucking crazy. It's a wild story.
Pull this up to keep this like a fist away
All
from
right.
your face. How old were you when you first started surfing?
I started surfing on a stand-up surfboard when I was 5.
And when did you start traveling to surf?
When I was 12, I went to England for the World Amateur Championships.
Wow.
So I was on the Hawaii
just
team.
Doing this traveling surfing thing most of your life.
Yeah.
Wow.
I have. It's crazy.
That is nuts, man.
I've been putting my surfboards in a board bag and walking out the door with my passport since I was 12 and going to so many different destinations around the world literally just for surfing.
Wow.
Fucking nuts. This is such a crazy way to grow up. And that's the cool thing about the film is all of us had that in common. And it's crazy the way the story's set up too, because there's so many things in it that I didn't really realize were happening at the time. Like I came from a broken family, alcoholic father, kind of radical situation at home. And then like a lot of us had like broken families. A lot of us had that in common. So we sort of have like this weird fucked up family dynamic in common. So we all became sort of like our own family on the road. So we were competing for a world title. We were all competing and going around the world all the time, staying together. So we became best friends, like this nucleus of surfers. And we all just became ultra close. And then when things got really serious with the surfing competition, and there was a lot on the line with sponsors and money and big brands coming in, the shit hit the fan, and then we started like breaking up. It got too serious. It was almost like a band who just couldn't stand each other anymore, or things got too radical, or girls got in the way, or money got in the way, and so there was like this kind of like breaking up element, throughout our group.
Wow. I would imagine when you're living like that, those people must be so valuable for you, though. People that can understand your way of life because it's their way of life, too. Because like to a regular person who commutes every day and goes to an office and comes home, like your life is alien.
Yeah, it is. I still get uncomfortable when people ask me what I do for a living. I'll be in like a normal random setting and someone will be like, "Oh yeah, what do you do for a living?" And I'm like, "No, do not ask me that," because nobody understands. It's like,
what do you tell them?
I tell them the truth, but I always tell them like it's really hard to explain, but I surf for a living.
And
what the fuck is that?
Yeah, do they go, how does that work? How do you get paid?
Yes, all the time. And I just go, I have no idea.
Well, you don't necessarily
check
compete any longer, right?
No,
you just
not at all.
Ride big waves.
I do. I ride big waves. That's my focus. And I also ride all kinds of waves. I surf every day. And, the waves don't get big that often.
Right.
But when the waves are biggest, I'm on it.
Yeah, for a person that like is just meeting you for the first time and doesn't understand surfing and is trying to wrap their head around making a living riding the waves of the ocean.
It's like, how? Why? What? That's
like,
weird.
wait a minute. No, I went to accounting school.
and I don't have. There's nothing. I mean, there's not like another category I can really point to make the point go quicker. There's not like it's like there's basketball players and football players, and all of them are like scoring goals and getting these brand endorsements from competition element. So because I'm a free surfer who doesn't compete at all, it's hard to wrap your head around. But
that's even harder.
Yeah, basically I have a large surfing profile, and so I work with a lot of brands, and that's just the kind of the way it works.
And just sponsors.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, this movie, this documentary, did they have footage of you guys from when you were really young?
Oh yeah. Yeah, they do.
Is that weird watching that stuff?
Yeah, very weird. Because we're all in our 40s now. We all got kids, and for most of us, except for Kelly's still going. He's 46 years old. I saw him on your show the other day. It was pretty classic. But so he's like a focal point in the film. He's part of the momentum generation, and so there's incredible footage of him when he's 9 years old or 10 years old, and he's in Florida like a little rat, like a little sunburned rat, and it's neat. I mean, we all had that in common. That's we all grew up in different places, and then we all fell in love with surfing, separately, and then we all just became super tight. So
wow,
it was it's great. And then now we're all like best friends again because there's no points on the line or world title on the line or like brands getting in the way or girls getting in the way. We're all
yeah.
We're finally growing up.
That had to be strange though, to be so tight and then everything sort of get bottlenecked by the pressure.
Yeah. And you think surfing, how much pressure could there be? But, we're all trying to make a living, right? It's like, that was our dream, to like surf as much as possible and see the world. And that's the only way you could do it for us.
Whenever there's competition, there's got to be massive amounts of pressure. Whenever there's someone trying to achieve something or someone trying to rise to the top of a profession and you're surrounded by a bunch, but you also must have pushed each other too. And it must have been beneficial to have people like you around as well.
I think it's part of, it's just, I think it's like part of our like human DNA to be naturally competitive. I think especially men, I think we feel like we have something to prove, like where we stand, like compared to the other guys, whether it was like in the caveman days or like the first hunters where it was like, for sure they were competitive to see who could bring home meat for the tribe. Yeah. And then it just, kept going from there. And then now we compete with whatever we're into. And, for us with surfing, we became hyper competitive. And especially me, like from the time I was like maybe 16 or 17 until the time I was like my mid 20s, I was like super competitive where I want to rip people's heads off in my heat. Like I would like visualize horrible things happening to them while I was competing against them.
Like what?
And it's so crazy how that's gone, 100% gone from my being now. I can't even imagine doing that. I'm like the most relaxed, non-competitive person. I have no competitiveness left in my body.
Well, I've only known you for 4 years or something like that. In those years, I could not imagine you having evil thoughts towards someone. No. You seem so chill.
I was a shit talker.
Were you really?
Oh yeah. I remember I was surfing against this guy, Damian Hardman. And he was like an Australian world champion. He was like an older generation. We were from the young, like new school generation. We were coming up, and there's these established guys who didn't want to, like be dethroned. And there was this guy, Damian Hardman, who was a badass competitive surfer, but he was a very like tactician, conservative. He'd never fall. He seemed like a nerd to me, you know what I mean? I was like this raw kid from Hawaii, and this guy was like so presentable and professional, and I just like resented it. And I was in a heat with him. And he got priority, which means that he had first right of wave. And I just needed a tiny little score to win. And he basically sat on me, which means he used his priority to chase me around the lineup and sit on me and keep me from getting a wave and let the time run out. Oh. And the whole time I was like, you surf like a girl. You surf like a little bitch. Like I was like totally shit talking him. And
did it work? Did he get you?
He got me because
he rode the time out.
I basically cracked and started like getting emotional, and he loved it. He went, I got this guy beat. He's starting to shit talk me. He loved that he actually came out to me later and goes, I love it that you're that passionate. I love it that you got that psyched and that emotional where you just started like trying to like insult me. He's like, that's my goal when I'm in heats with people, is to get them to that point.